Hello, everybody. My name is Tyler, and welcome to a brand new podcast episode of Wtphu. Today, we're discussing more personalities with me, Tyler, your host, and today we're going to continue this series of episodes. And if you didn't hear the first one, we are going through the list of questions from 16 personalities to figure out my 4 letters to my personality. It is people are categorized into 16 of these, and which one am I? We'll find out. Let me just quickly get into these questions, and we'll kindly go from there within our allotted time. You are more than inclined to follow your head than your heart. Am I more inclined to be logical or emotional about it? Like when it comes to decision making, like case in point, making a podcast and making content is definitely a hard decision because I know I have a lot of enjoyment from consuming media. When I was younger, I loved doing video games. That's mostly a heart feeling. A head feeling would be I think what but I think what they mean to say is like in terms of like decision making. Like I get that. I want to make decisions like making friends or business decisions based on my heart. Because you can follow your head for only so many things. It makes sense for certain businesses, but if you only follow the statistics and like based on history, that's a lot of head thinking. And I don't feel like you get a lot done if you think with just your head because you have to have heart behind it and just a leap of faith. A lot of decision making has to be based on leap of faith, but it is. It's a 60-40 relationship when it comes to thinking with your head and your heart because I feel like you should be thinking 60-40, not 60-40, if that makes sense. If you're if you're listening on Spotify, I'm pointing my heart being the 40 or 60, depending on the situation. If it's business, sometimes going with your head might be a good idea. But when you're talking with your staff or your friends and family, that's definitely a heart decision. But then again, if someone wants to talk to me about following head to heart, definitely let me know down below. Because I want to expand on this answer because I don't feel like I answered it adequately for you guys for this yes or no question. Like I want to give a better answer, and I want to give more examples if someone asks me or phrases the situation to me better. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine. Now, that's kind of hard. That's kind of hard because like it used to be in a situation where there's a particular routine to where I go to work, I go home, and if I lay down, I go to bed. So I do my best to stay up. So like I guess I would prefer a particular routine done, but often I don't know because I can understand. I would prefer a particular daily routine, like making sure you get your 20 minutes workout in, or making sure you brush your teeth as often as you can, or just sleeping at a reasonable time within a certain amount of time before you go to work and things like that. Um, I do my best to do things like that. However, there are a lot of times to where if you have the freedom to do so, please just uh, do go with what you're feeling like at any given moment because that definitely does make you happier. But what keeps you safe definitely involves a particular daily routine. Like I can understand certain like people if you have the financial um, income, if you have the financial security to do whatever you feel like doing at any given moment, then sure, do it. Do it in a healthy way that doesn't hurt anybody, that benefits others. Do it in a way that invests time and affection onto others and to invests in their time. However, if you're grinding it out like most of us are, if you're working a 9 to 5 and you have other responsibilities, following a particular daily routine does help keep you sane and making sure you check off the list of those particular things does keep you sane. You rarely worry about whether you'll make a good impression on people you meet. I I do worry about making good impressions because, like I mentioned before, the way I express language does sometimes sound a little bit harsh. So I'm very concerned about how people perceive me because, like I said before, it's still very it's a fresh trauma in my head because I made someone cry by um, talking with them, and then they seemed very uh, warm after a while. But it took a long time before she would be comfortable with me at work. I just wish I was a whole lot better at this because I I feel bad for having certain like energies that exuberates from me when I have a communication with someone. So my impression, like the first, I definitely worry about the first 15 minutes about meeting someone because that does make a general assessment. I was very fortunate that my cousin V, uh, that the fiance of my cousin, um, in the first few minutes of like talking with me, definitely had the impression that in conversations I genuinely do want to get to know the other person on the other side. So I'm very fortunate that he got that. That's great. It's very hard for some people to get that, but that does come of a situation to where if you go into the conversation with certain expectations, you're going to be met with a lot of disappointment because the conversation may have not gone with the way you wanted it to be, but you have to manage your expectations in conversations to have a good one, right? To have a good impression on others, you have to have an expectation that you have to give them you have to give someone the base impression that they are decent. And if you make the environment welcoming, the other side will feed off of that and it will add on to the environment of the good impression. Otherwise, if you come in strong, it's not gonna work very well. Do you participate in any in you enjoy participating in group activities? I do. I do like my group activities. I do like the variation. I don't mind playing some Devour or some Valorant, Apex Legends. I don't mind playing some board games. There's a new game out, I think, at the time of recording called Doomlings. I want to play that. I can go to Target next week and buy it. I'm really excited to buy it and pay for it. Like I want to play with people. I want to be incorporate. I want to enjoy the company of others because group activities should foster a welcoming environment, and I definitely missed that during my last D&D. The DM decided that he didn't want to do it anymore, and I respect it. I just haven't heard much from him since, and yeah, if he's busy, then I have to accept that. But I definitely should. It doesn't excuse me from making the effort to message them once in a while. So I I have that gripe with like my partner because she thinks that like I understand that she will only reach out to others because she'll only reach out to others in the communication that they're used to. Like if I met you in college in person, then I'll feel more comfortable catching up through talking in person versus just messaging like once in a while, like saying, "Hey, how's it going?" I need to get back on messaging others, um, especially during the day. Like it's definitely participating in activities like participating in being involved in their life should be when they're awake. So texting might have been a lot better if I was like during their time frame, but if they're not awake, then I can help it. And sometimes when you wake up and you see the notification, but you don't respond to it quickly, that's on them, not you. If you sent out the message, you like books and movies that make you come up with their own interpretations of the endings. You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretations. Mm, I mean, yeah, I do kind of like it just because um I wait, hold on. because this really depends. Like this really depends on if like the writing itself was very good. It depends if the book or the movie was written very well. Because if it was written very well, I wouldn't need to interpret my own ending. So, but if it's a bad movie, but I don't have the need to go watch bad movies, then I don't need to interpret it because I recently watched Fall Guys, and you know the way. Actually, yeah, I I'll say I slightly disagree, but for certain reasons. Like, there's been often times to where the progression and the endings to books, movies, or video games happens because of a certain character flaw, and I find myself often yelling at the screen because more of these conversations could have been avoided if they just simply, I don't know why I'm grabbing my sword, but they simply, if they just, it's a fake toy sword. Sorry about the screech. The screeching was really bad. My bad. My bad. Sorry. Sorry. So that's gonna be bad for audio. But essentially, if you make a character hateable, you're gonna do a good job of making a hateable character. But otherwise, it's a situation where I only make interpretations how of like, man, maybe we wouldn't have had this conversation in this incident if you actually sat down and talked. If you just reached out and talked, this wouldn't have happened. If because like one of the biggest like problems for Horizon is like the character development. So spoiler warning if you haven't played uh, Horizon, both of them. But Ted Farrow decided on his own to just erase information that could have given people a head start when the new world started over. And he killed people within the board outside of Elizabeth Sobek because of reasons. But I hate that because, like, I can understand that his character flaw to where he thinks of himself the best, and there may be instances of traits of narcissism, or maybe I can't say there's something going on with his head, and I can't say for certain what that may be because the writing makes it look like he is so arrogant and he's so tight into his way of thinking that he doesn't appreciate the conversations of other people and he doesn't value the conversations of other people. Unlike Elizabeth Sobek, he respects and talks to her because he believes she's on the same level of thinking. And then you look into Horizon Zero Forbidden West and you realize that his psyche was slowly decreasing and just killing him and everyone around him to where he came to a point to where he wanted to live to forever so badly that he's just flesh, like just skin and brain, and like he lives forever, sure, but it's at an about he lives the life of an abomination, and I would have liked a different ending to where he could have done things differently. Like Ted Farrow is a guy that I wish would have done differently because um, we're in a worse place because of his decisions. He thought the world would be better off if he did because of what he did, but the reality is we got into a worse start. We they got into a situation where everything was tribal, like during the Stone Age or like the Ice Age, and everyone's just out for each other. They don't have the knowledge to start over. They don't have the knowledge to learn and be better. And they make mistakes instead, and it just sucks. Character writing is very important, and it definitely just, I wish. Um, that comes up to the point to where I don't need to make an interpretation if the movie or book or game already wrote a good one. I shouldn't need to think of a different ending if it was a good movie. Your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishments. And I think I do. Um, I stressed this in an earlier podcast to where I worked as an aquatic instructor for 6 years, teaching 6 months to 60 plus on how to swim, and I felt very rewarded by doing so. I feel rewarded because when I help them reach their goal of swimming, when I help them reach their goal of like accomplishment, I'm happy because I led them in the right direction. I gave them the choice to do certain things, and they took it upon themselves to make a choice to do an activity. They got into the water. It's good. They swam with me. That's good. And I'm very happy that some of them that I've seen throughout my career as an instructor has shown me like it is. There's a lot of serotonin from just watching someone accomplish it. If I watch them and they do a really good job in weightlifting, I'm very happy because they got to a point of accomplishment because like I can only do so much as a teacher and I can only do so much to help them. But if they took the steps and then they accomplished because of those steps that they took the time to cultivate and to nurture, then I'm happy for them because they accomplished it. So yes, my happiness does come from helping others. It's kind of like in hindsight because when I took that career placement test, the assessment was educator or counselor, and in hindsight, making YouTube videos and watching people react to it is just as good as the next one, right? So I'm very happy with watching people accomplish their goals, and maybe down the line I may be a trainer. It might be a good idea to be a trainer and just help other people just reach their goals in fitness, or make a YouTube series of fitness to where I don't need a NASM. I don't need to take a training course, I think, but it definitely does help. And I believe that'll be the end of this episode today. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode and conversations. I'm sorry if there wasn't much stories I was able to deep dive with, but thank you again. If you liked it, make sure you subscribe to the channel and follow me on social media. And let me know down in the comments or anywhere on the internet other questions you would like me to answer or to take a deep dive of. If you can help me understand the difference between following your head and your heart, and we have a conversation about that, that would be great. If you have a confession about whether or not you worry about making good impressions, let me know about it, and then we'll vibe on how nervous we both are or how you get over that, because I would like to know. I'm getting closer to 30 and I still have issues and concerns about making a good impression. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'm Tyler, I'm your friend, and I'll see you next time. Bye.